Hello there. Welcome back. This is session number 2 of our True Love seminar. In this session, we're going to explore my dream. In the last session, we introduced the 3 topics that will be covered in the seminar: my dream, human responsibility, and restoration. So let's get started with my dream. And let's ask ourselves the question, what is my dream? What is it that I long for with all my heart? Well, I would guess that one dream we all share in common is a dream of world peace. A world in which people, instead of trying to dominate each other, are able to respect one another and work toward something good. It would be a world in which we take care of this planet, which is our home. It would be a world in which we use our resources not to wage war on each other, but to create something beautiful, something good and true. All right, that's world peace. But there is another dream that we all share in common. This dream, although we may know something about it, we have not yet fully understood its importance. This is a dream which, when it's fulfilled, will open the way for all of our most treasured dreams to come true, including our dream for world peace. So, would you like to know what that dream is? Okay, please give me a drum roll. All right. It's the dream of true parents. By true parents, we mean parents whose love is unchanging, whose love gives us our true sense of identity, purpose, meaning, and value. Now, your first reaction to this might well be, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, but that's never been my dream. I've never even used that term before, true parents. Such a reaction is completely understandable. In fact, to be honest, that was my first reaction. Even so, please give me a few minutes and I will demonstrate why this dream is the dream of all dreams. Point number 1. There's one reality that no one can deny. Every person who's ever lived and every person who's living in the world today exists because one sperm that came from one man and one egg that came from one woman joined together and became you, became me. And that's how each of us came to be. There are no exceptions. We are each the substantial union of our mother and our father. Without our parents, we would not exist and would not even be here to have this seminar or any discussion about this topic. And it's more than that. We would not be able to survive our early years without the care of our parents. Young children are totally helpless. And it's not just physical survival. Studies have shown parental love is a key element in our personal growth and development. Children who are not loved, if they survive at all, end up emotionally crippled. At this point, if you didn't have good parents, you might protest. That's understandable. You may have had bad experience with your parents. You may even be determined that you will never become a parent. The fact is, some of us had parents who were good to us, some had parents who weren't so good. But think for a moment, how is it that we know that our parents fell short? What makes us so sure that they had problems? And this brings us to point number 2. The reason we know our parents weren't good is because programmed within us, there is an innate knowledge, a sense of how true parents should behave. The concept of true parents is a part of who we are. We see this nature in every child. Every child wants to have true parents. Parents who they can be proud of, who are good and strong, who are beautiful, loving, and caring. Kids look to their parents to be their heroes. Didn't you ever have competition when you were a kid with your friends? My dad's bigger than your dad, or or my mom is smarter than your mom, and so on. Kids want their parents to have a clear sense of right and wrong, right? They want their parents to be righteous when faced with evil. They want their parents to always be faithful and loyal to each other as husband and wife. No kid wants their parents to cheat on each other. And as parents, right, we want our parents to practice true love by living for the sake of their children, putting the welfare of their children as a priority over their personal desires. To demonstrate how true parents are ingrained within us, Father Moon told us this story. Imagine there were parents who kept a ledger of all they did for their children. They kept track of everything, every minute they invested, every diaper they bought, every ounce of food, every piece of clothing, the cost of heating and maintaining their bedroom, right? And so on and so on. So what if they kept track of everything for the 18 years that they spent in the home? And then, after graduating from high school, their 18th birthday, when they're about to move out, the parents present them with this ledger and ask them to pay up. What would be your gut feeling to that? That this is something terrible, right? But if you think about it logically, it's not wrong for someone to expect an equal return on an investment. Even so, something in us knows that this is wrong. Why? This is our innate knowledge of true parents speaking to us. Okay, point number 3. True parents are the source of true love. And true love is the source of our greatest happiness. And a big part of everyone's dream is to be happy. Do you remember our opening statement? Love is an important topic for just about everyone. The reason being we all want to be happy. And love is the source of our greatest happiness. Remember that? Well, no one does true love better than true parents. Love comes in different forms. One is the bond of love between siblings. It can be very powerful. We see this in families and also between people who become lifelong friends. Another form of love is romantic love, the love between a man and a woman. It can be amazing. It can be beyond description. But no matter how great sibling love or romantic love can be, no relationship does true love better than true parents. Friendships and marriages can end with one betrayal. This is why divorce is so common. But the bond of love between a parent, a true parent, and a child is unbreakable. Parental love, when it's true, will give everything for the sake of their children, and then still want to give more. The love of a true parent is like God. Yeah, it's absolute, it's unchanging, and it's eternal. This is why our deepest longing, what we call my dream, is to have true parents and to one day become true parents ourselves. And in line with point number 3 is point number 4. We can realize the central importance of true parents if we consider one simple reality. If there is one thing we could do to make the world a better world, to bring us closer to the world of peace, what would that be? It would be to create a healthy home centered on true parents. To prove this point, consider a young man who's in prison for a felony. He's a high school dropout. He grew up in poverty. He's addicted to drugs, and he has serious anger issues. Now tell me, what are the odds that this person grew up in a healthy family with a father and mother who are loving and caring? And the answer is almost 0. Without a doubt, the surest way to make this world a better world is to make a good family. And point number 5. One common theme that can be found in people's longing desires is the longing for our true home, to find our way back home. This is pretty universal. It's found in all different cultures, in literature, film, in TV, in music and songs. So why is this theme so universal? It's because something tells us that the world in which we live is not our real home. we feel out of place. To begin with, it's a world in which things like conflict, injustice, corruption, and greed, they seem to be almost the norm. And maybe most importantly, it's a world that can't even tell us basic truths, such as who I am, why I'm here, and where I'm headed. And when it does try to tell us these truths, what they are, what it offers doesn't fully resonate with us. For example, some try to tell us that we are defined by the color of our skin. I'm brown, I'm white, I'm black, I'm, yellow or whatever. Or by the nation of our birth. I'm British, I'm Chinese, I'm American, and so on. Or by our career. I'm the CEO of this big company, or I'm a teacher, or I'm a scientist, or an artist, or whatever. Or by the name of our family. That's a big one, right? I'm a Rockefeller, or I'm a Kennedy, or I'm a Johnson, and so on. And now our kids are being taught that they are not God's creation. They are in fact a product of a random process, that their lives have no special purpose or meaning. They are told that truth, goodness, and beauty are not absolute. They are told each person can choose their own truths and their own standard of what is right and wrong, what is good and bad. But these claims as to who we are do not satisfy us. We sense that if we were to find our true home, the answers to these questions concerning our lives would be clear to us. We would know them in our hearts. They would be self-evident. And what's the most important element that makes a home a home? It's true parents. This brings us to point number 6. Why my dream is true parents, and why that dream is so critically important for our happiness. The reason the dream of true parents is so ingrained within us is because the very source of our existence, God, is our invisible true parent. And if you don't believe in God, or if you're not sure about God's existence, here's a suggestion. For the duration of this seminar, just accept the concept that God exists as a hypothesis. In other words, just assume that God exists, kind of like an experiment, and then see where it takes you. If the explanation of God that is presented opens the door through which you are able to find answers to life's questions, solutions to the problems you are facing, then you might want to reconsider and really think seriously about the possibility that God exists. Now, let's continue with our point, that God is our invisible true parent. To this you may ask, how do you know God is our invisible true parent? What's the basis for that? Well, one way to know who God is to look at what God created. Doesn't that make sense? If God is the origin of all things? So this was the insight of St. Paul in Romans 1:20. We can know God's invisible nature by observing what he created. It's like learning about the character of an artist by observing his or her works of art. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the universe which God created to learn more about God. And when we look at all the things in the universe, what we're going to discover is that they exist in paired relationships. In the world of particles, atoms, and molecules, including DNA, the source of life, there is a duality of plus and minus, electrical charges. In DNA, also we see the double helix. In plants, within flowers, there are stamen and pistil. And in general, animals are male and female. And of course, biologically speaking, people are male or female, man and woman. This all indicates that God, the source of all things, possesses a dual nature, possessing both masculine and feminine characteristics. We see this expressed in the book of Genesis 1:27. God created mankind in his own image. Male and female, he created them. And so, although God has been commonly referred to as our Heavenly Father, God also possesses the qualities of a heavenly mother. And if we look at how the universe developed and unfolded from its origin, kind of like a seed that grows into a tree and produces a fruit, we will discover that the ultimate fruit the universe produced is love, as manifested through a man and a woman. Think about it. To find the nature of a seed, we should look to see what fruit it produces. A tree that produces apples comes from an apple seed. Then what kind of seed is the origin of the universe? In other words, God. What fruit did the universe produce? It started with a big bang and a lot of energy. That energy formed particles. Those particles formed atoms. Those atoms formed molecules, which formed into more complex molecules, which eventually formed DNA. That's the molecule that makes life possible, which then brought forth plants and animals, and finally the universe produced its ultimate fruit, man and woman. Well, at this point, you may protest. You might say that humans are the cancer of the universe because they destroy everything they touch. But that's fallen humanity. We'll talk about that in another session. For now, just think of people when they're at their very best. The main reason people are the ultimate fruit is that we have the unique quality to be able to love. Unlike any other creation, we are able to love everything. There is nothing in the creation that someone doesn't love. We love the stars that are billions of light years away, and we love the dinosaurs which have been dead for hundreds of millions of years. I know when I was a kid, my most favorite thing going to the museum was to see the skeletons of the dinosaurs. And if we look at love, it also develops through stages. We first love as a child, then as siblings with our brothers and sisters, then as husband and wife. But the ultimate love, as we shared earlier, emerges when we become a parent. Parental love, the love that gives unconditionally, is the ultimate fruit of the universe. If we go back to the seed, the origin, God. This means that God is our invisible parent. If the tree produces apples, the origin must be an apple seed. In this case, the universe is a parental love tree, or a parental love universe. This is why we can say with confidence that God is our heavenly parent. Here are two quotes, one from Mother Moon and one from Father Moon. God wanted to be the true parent, visible in the flesh through the first human ancestors. That was God's hope and dream. It is God's purpose of creation. And from Father Moon, I invite you to enter into a transcendent state and prayerfully ask God, what is the center of the universe? The answer you hear will undoubtedly be the parent-child relationship. Nothing is more important than the relationship between parent and child. This is because it defines the fundamental relationship between the Creator God and human beings. We're going to conclude this first session here. In the next session, we will look further into my dream, and then we'll move on to human responsibility. So I look forward to seeing you then. Please keep well.